Hello, everyone. My name is Elahn. You're on Elahn Codes, watching .NET Book Study with my co-host Gabriel. Gabriel, how are you feeling today?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another stream. We're glad to have you on here.
It's Friday. That's new, right?
Can you say that again?
I said it's Friday. That's new, right? Usually we're streaming on Sundays.
Um, sorry. You're breaking up first. I don't know. Give me a
Oh
second.
no. Okay. I got new earphones and I got a new microphone, so hopefully it's not that's throwing it off. I think you're on mute still. Let's see. Okay, let's see what we can do to fix this. Okay, Badger says that I sound fine, which is really good. Gabriel, he says that you sound good as well. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can fix this. All right, I removed Gabriel from the stream. I think he'll be back. He always comes back, but let's see if we can make sure that he has the proper sound quality because that is needed in order to have a live stream. But oh, okay, here. Yeah, he's like a boomerang badger. Let's see. Is it better now, Gabriel? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's better now. I
Oh,
can hear you fine. Good,
don't scare me
good day,
like
everyone.
that. Oh
It's
my
nice to
gosh,
see
and my
you.
AC is not on. And these lights.
I don't know what happened. It was working pretty fine, and then all of a sudden everything's just messed up. But it's fine. I think we're back.
Awesome. I'm happy to have you back. I was just saying that it is Friday, and that's something new for us.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a Sunday, but it's a Friday, and
It's a
we have
Friday.
a lot of good news, and we're glad that you're here. If you're here, and we can't wait to tell you because it's been with us for quite some time now. We can't wait to let it out.
I can't wait. I've been holding it in for like maybe the last 2 months. I can't take it anymore. And the fact that it is Friday and we're sharing great news on a Friday, it just makes it even better. Okay, let's see. Let's get started. So, we're going to go through an overview of what we're going to discuss today. So, we have already built the REST API. Gabriel, can you remind me, was it through an MVC? Like, is through that format? Is that what we built it through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could say it's on MVC. However, there is no view, but yeah, we
Okay.
had the models and we had the controller.
Got it. Oh, yeah, it is like an API. So I'm still learning. But what is so different with today is that we're going to also be consuming that API. We have already built the REST API, but we're introducing a new application. And so we're going to talk about Blazor because that's what we're using. And we're going to go through what Blazor is, how to create a Blazor application. And then we're also going to talk about my experience using Docker yesterday, which had stressed me out a lot. I don't want to talk mess about Docker. It's just, my learning experience with Docker was a lot. It was a lot. It was like 4 hours. But we can talk about that. And then at the end of the show, towards the end of today's stream, we will reveal our great news. So make sure you stay tuned with us. I'm super excited. But I feel like it only makes sense since we are a community. It only makes sense that we start kind of highlighting upcoming events in the .NET world. And we really want to share that with you guys. So let's see if I can share my screen. How does that sound, Gabriel?
Yeah, that's fine. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
So I'm going to share my screen. We have something that I think it's really interesting that's coming up in the .NET world. So I don't know if you guys have worked with Maui just yet. I have. I have a couple streams, maybe like back in February or March, just me working on Maui. So now Maui has been shipped back in May. So there's a lot of conversation about .NET Maui. I'm super excited. I'm a MacBook user, so I'm still kind of like figuring things out, especially as somebody who loves Blazor with their new Blazor hybrid situation. So I feel like this upcoming event is going to be really fun. And I'm wondering if you guys would be interested in attending and what you think about that. It's called .NET Conf, it with a focus on Maui. So it looks like there's going to be a live stream session with speakers David Ortona, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, Maddie Montequia, and Sam Basu. So let's take a look. It says that it's a free 1 day live stream event that features speakers from the community and Microsoft teams working on and using .NET multi-platform app UI. It says to learn how to build native apps for Android, iOS, macOS, and Windows with a single code base using .NET Maui. Hear from the
That's
team
actually
building what?
I said that's actually interesting,
Right?
right? And,
Right.
and I know you already. You're a huge fan of .NET Maui.
I am. I am. I want to like I'm so excited. I think what's so special about .NET Maui is the fact that you can't. It's almost like for me, I'm a person who's very hands-on. Like I like creating. Um, I like creating not just apps, but it's like that ownership. That's what I enjoy about, learning how to code is like that ownership behind what you're coding. So the fact
Yeah,
that you can make a website using Blazor, but also turn that website into a mobile app and like where anybody can access it, like that is what I like and that's what drives me like. And we'll touch on this a little bit later, but I feel like that type of ownership is so important today. The ability to make your own web app as well as mobile app. And the easier you can do it, like the better. So that looks exciting. And we can talk a little bit more about that later on. But I think it's really important to highlight, upcoming events in the .NET world for our viewers and our community members. So let's see. Oh, a Badger. Badger. Okay, Badger is Badger is amazing. Let's see. Let's see what Badger said. Steve Sanderson has said to have realistic expectations for Maui. Though you can ship to all those platforms easily, there are quirks where UI works 100% on one OS while a bit funky on another. That is a great point. That is a fantastic point. And I think that is like you start to realize that like as you're learning how to code, that not everything fits with everything. And I think it's like that's why I'm happy we're having this conversation today. And that's why I feel like .NET book study is so important, is because like we're learning through conversations and we're being honest about our experiences. And we're not just trying to sell people something. We're not trying to sell people a fantasy, but we're being honest in our learning journey and our coding journey. And we're having these types of conversations. Okay, let's see.
yeah. And not to draw attention for what you're talking about, but
Oh, of course.
as to what Badger said, I think that even though we're having a realistic expectation for .NET MAUI, I think it's still in its early stages and would only get better with time. And I
Mhm.
believe there will be a lot of development and improvement, and where would factor other OS and make it better. So I'm actually interested in what .NET MAUI has to offer, and I think we're going to have a stream where we're going to be discussing .NET MAUI and what it is, how to use it, and I really can't wait for when we have that stream.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so awesome. I'm so excited. Like I said, like I had a stream based on .NET Maui back in February or March. I can't really remember. These months kind of blend in together at a certain point. But I will say, like, I did have to take a break from .NET Maui because I am a MacBook user. And, sometimes in the .NET world, when you are introducing something new, it's more of a Windows situation. So it's like the MacBook users kind of have to like wait just a little bit, have a little bit of patience when something new like that gets introduced. So I will say, like, I wanted to be like super on top of it, like let's do this, but like everything, it is still like a work in progress, and I'm really excited to revisit it now that it's been shipped. So we'll see from there. But I guess
Yeah,
without
yeah,
getting too much into it, I think now is like the perfect time. Let me stop sharing my screen. And that is a great point, Badger, to test, the project on each OS. Like that makes perfect sense. And I guess it's like, and maybe we could talk about that too. Is like, how do you even test it on? Like, do you go use somebody else's laptop and try to test it out? Do you need like VMware to get a different OS on your laptop to test both Windows and Mac? I feel like that's a good conversation to have. But let's see. I'm gonna go to the Blazor. Oh, emulators. Okay, that's a good point. Emulators. You can launch them via Visual Studio. Got it. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. I'm going to open up VS Code. Let me get it, because now we're going to talk about Blazor, and we're going to create a new Blazor application so that we can consume our REST API using Blazor. Let me close this folder. 1 second. All right. And then I am going to share my screen again. Okay. Can you all see that clearly? Maybe I can like zoom in a little bit more too. Gabriel, can you see it okay?
yeah. So it's coming up on my end. Just give me a couple of seconds. Yeah, I can see it
Okay.
fine. It's pretty okay.
Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. Let me know, you guys, if you need me to zoom in. I will do that absolutely if that is needed. So let's talk about Blazor. Blazor is amazing to me. Blazor is what helped me kind of understand like C sharp and the point of what we're building, like when it comes to like lists and arrays and like switch cases, all of those concepts. Yeah. Yeah, we're about to get Blazor focused up in here. We're going to talk about it. We're going to have the conversation. So Blazor is what sealed the deal for me when it came to learning how to code. The fact that I guess when C sharp is kind of considered a backend language, I don't know if you've heard that before, Gabriel, but that's what I've learned. That C
Yeah,
sharp
yeah,
is
yeah. A lot of people. sorry for cutting in there.
No,
A
you're
lot of people
fine.
who when I just started learning, when I heard about C sharp, I most likely or mostly confuse it with C and then C plus plus, and then it gets scary. And
Yes.
most of the time, what comes to my head is a backend language. And yeah, but then when I started learning, I realized that you could use it for a lot of other things, front end, back end, Internet of
Yes.
Things, a lot of other things. So that's a misconception that we really
Yeah.
need to play out, so that a lot of persons know that C sharp is not just a backend language, but it's a language that you could use to do a lot of things.
And that's why I love Blazor. It's like when you're learning this language and it's kind of considered a back end language, it's just like, okay, what's the point? What are we building? Like, what do I like? What am I supposed to see? And I think it didn't get real for me, like, because when you're used to making like console projects, it's like, okay, when does this get real? When does this like feel real? And like you want to see something that's a little bit more visual. At least that's how I felt. And so that's when I decided to take a step into making a web application, and that's when I used Blazor. Oh, okay, so basically, Blazor is a framework that allows you to create and build interactive web UIs using C sharp rather than JavaScript. And like, Gabriel, that when I was learning C sharp, what frustrated me, like trying to find a community, was the fact that there was just a whole bunch of JavaScript people and Python people. And like, okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent, but that was what stood out to me. Is like, oh, you don't even need to know JavaScript to build something cool, to build a website or a web application. And so what Blazor does is that they use like components made out of C sharp, made out of HTML and CSS to create modern web UIs. And it makes C sharp feel a bit more, sorry, my light is falling. It makes C sharp feel a bit more realistic. And the fact that you're able to create a web application so easily, especially using Blazor, is what kind of sold it for me. I'm not gonna lie. If Blazor did not exist, I don't know if I can continue. This is gonna be like very like risky to say. If Blazor didn't exist, I don't know if I could continue being a C sharp developer, just because of the fact that I like
Wow.
seeing. I know. Did I just say that right now? But that's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying.
think
It's
I could
like
understand how you're feeling. I think I can understand how you're feeling. You just want to see what you're doing. You want to see
exactly.
what it looks like and how it works and all of that. So that's reasonable. That's understandable. I'd also like to point out a comment from uh I do not want to spell this or pronounce this wrong, but it looks like chicks can code stuff,
Here,
something like that.
I'll
So
highlight it.
she mentioned, no, okay, not the one, the previous one. Make sure we don't confuse language
Okay.
versus framework versus platform. Yeah, I think that came up when we were talking about C sharp for backend, C sharp for front end, and some other stuff, right? Yeah,
Good
so
point.
Blazor is a framework. Yeah, that's okay. C sharp is a language, but I think C sharp, using C sharp for Blazor as in the front end, or for with ASP.NET in the back end. Yeah, so these frameworks enables also assist us to use C sharp in any of these fields that we want to use them in. So like you're really interested in using C sharp for front end, you just lean towards Blazor, and then probably I want to use C sharp for the back end, and I'm leaning towards ASP.NET. So yeah, but we also do not want to confuse the difference between languages and framework and platforms. So that's a good point.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you. Yes,
And I'm
that's a
sorry
great
if I
point.
did not pronounce your name correctly.
I think you got it right. Chicks can code. I think that's how you pronounce it.
All right.
Ooh, okay. Okay. We got a lot of people in the chat, which is awesome. Yes. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chicks can
a
code.
lot of comments coming in, and we're really excited to have all of you here. All right. So sorry for distracting you. Please go ahead.
No worries at all. I was just like, I hope that's not considered like shots fired. Like it's no beef at all. I feel like I'm a visual person. I need to see like real world like examples of what we're building. It helps me learn better. That's how I learn. Is just seeing
Yeah,
like, okay, like how are we using this like in the real world? Like what can I see? And so that's why I like Blazor. You can use C sharp, HTML, and CSS. You don't have to learn JavaScript in order to create modern web applications. And so, with that being said, I am going to show you just how easy it is to create a new Blazor application. And a Blazor application that we will be using to consume our REST API. I'm sorry, this is funny. It's no shade. Okay, I'm done. All right, let's see. I'm gonna open up my terminal, and you can see it's still pretty good, right, Gabriel? Like my terminal and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So we're gonna
it looks fine.
create. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just type into the terminal dot, and I'm using VS Code for those who do not know. We are creating a Blazor WebAssembly application. The roadmap, the application's name is going to be called Roadmap Front End. Let's
Yeah,
see.
that's because we're going to be using it to consume the API from the back end, right?
Right. So that's what we're going to be doing. So we're creating it right now. And then I'm going to do command road map front end.
Yeah, I think that is change directory, CD.
Yes. Hopefully I didn't. Okay. All right. I'm going to open up my. I'm just opening up the project so that we can see it in VS Code. Let's see. So the first thing that you kind of need to know when you're working with a Blazor application is the default pattern, the default setup. We have our Razor pages, which kind of get turned into, yeah, I guess like pages on your website. So we have counter.razor, fetch data, we have index, and then we have our properties, which is kind of, you don't really have to get into this unless you're doing like some deep under the hood stuff. I haven't had to touch this file just yet. So, but we also have our shared folder where we will see our main layout Razor page, as well as its CSS page, as well as, and I'm saying pages, what I mean is like files. So forgive me for
Yeah,
that.
I
But
think they are called components. Um, if
components,
you're coming
thank
from
you.
yeah, if you're coming from the React background, they're called components. So you could reuse the components at different points in your application. Yeah, so the Razor pages could be also called components, and then we have the CSS as styles. I think so.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Like sometimes I don't have the lingo down all the way, but I'm trying. So, okay. So the nav menu, this is where we're seeing our navigation bar. And then this is where you can, switch it up with the CSS. And then we have our imports, and that's when we're adding like a new like using service or using statement. That's
Yeah,
where we will add it into our imports Razor component. Okay. And then this is where we have our app.razor, and then our program.cs file. So I'm going to hit .NET run. so that we can see how easy it is to see all of this amazing information to get this program running. It's building, it's taking a little bit. Okay, awesome. Swap this out.
Oh,
Still
great.
loading, but yeah, it's still loading, but we're gonna get there.
Wow.
See, and this is where we're seeing all of our Razor components right here. They are web pages, which is really awesome. And then, you click, you got the counter, and you're clicking. You have your weather forecast. It's just so easy, and that's what I like. Like, I feel like learning how to code can be so complicated, like, between like Git and GitHub and finding people who like, finding a community as well as like learning the language itself and learning the framework. The fact that Blazor is really easy to get up and running, that's what I love. And that's what makes it even easier for me. I feel like even though I don't know all of the lingo and the terminology and like, the language, I
You're
feel like
actually
I
not
still
alone. I feel like there's a lot of programming languages or terms that I do not know. So sometimes I just
okay,
go to basic explanations and basic English
exactly.
explanations and try to understand
Yes.
what I'm trying to say. So you're not alone, and I think we're learning as we're going, which is a good thing.
Awesome. Thank you for understanding. It's like although I don't know all of the terminology, what's so cool is that, maybe I don't have to know it all. And so I can still build something like meaningful. And I feel like that's what's important. So that is what I like. And let's see. So that's kind of like, and I do feel like this is going to be a shorter stream. Badger said, hey, words are hard sometimes. It is. Words are they can be very hard, but but it's okay. It's cool. It's totally cool. Um, but like, yeah, like I was saying, this is kind of like a shorter stream just because we have so many things that we're going to talk about today. And, since this is basically a part two of the project where we're talking about a completely different um, application, we don't want to overload you guys or overwhelm you guys with too much information in one stream. But I feel like, so no, this is how we're running Blazor. I feel like now is a fun time to talk about Docker. And, what do you know about Docker, Gabriel?
Oh, what I know about Docker, how do I put this now? So Docker is the platform that helps developers to build and deploy and run containers, right? So I think the keyword there would be containers. So you probably have an application and you want to share the application with some other developers. So you could just containerize the application using Docker, set it up and set up everything and then ship it to the developer would want to use it. So the environments that you've already set up for that application would be existing on that other developer's machine. So let's say you're working on a C Sharp app, and then you want to share your app to some other developer, and they do not have all of the resources that needs
Mm,
to be set up on their machine, but they have Docker. You could build and ship, and then that other developer just pulls it and then runs it without any issue. So That's like my understanding of Docker,
Yeah.
right? I
Okay.
believe it's more complex than that. It could go deeper than that, but that's like the
Okay.
basic example.
Okay. So when the way that you're explaining this to me, it sounds like because I when you were talking, I was thinking, okay, so what's the difference between Docker and something like GitHub, where you can, copy or clone someone else's project and download it onto your
Yeah, so
local machine.
I think
Is
the
it
difference between Docker and GitHub is um, on GitHub you're just storing the code, but on Docker you're setting it up, you're building it, you're preparing all of the resources that's needed,
like NuGet
everything.
packages?
Yeah, and you're containerizing it. You're like storing it in a container so that once the other developer gets it, all they need to do is just run it,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
But on GitHub, they need to start installing the SDKs, the NuGet packages,
Yeah.
the thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so we're bringing Docker up because in order to have a REST API, you need an SQL server, right?
Yeah, if you're using SQL Server for your database storage, yeah, you would
Hmm.
need that.
Yes. Unfortunately, as a MacBook user, we don't have like access to the SQL server, so we need Docker. So I guess it's a situation where Docker, a, a Microsoft SQL server can be ran using Docker. And so yesterday was my first time learning how to set up Docker in order to to consume the REST API using my Blazor application. I needed to have my database. And in order to have my database, I needed to know how to use Docker. And when I tell you, and I'm like, I am not throwing any shade. This is just like my learning experience. At the end of the day, like I felt very nauseous. Maybe I was
Wow.
trying to learn too much at the same time. Maybe I pushed myself too hard, but I did feel a bit nauseous at the end.
Oh,
And
wow.
I
About that.
okay, like, but I think it was also just kind of trying to learn a lot at a fast pace. And it was the fact that I ran into an issue, and that was where my anxiety um, kind of started. Was I ran into an issue that involved JavaScript, and I don't know JavaScript. It was Node.js. I
Mm-hmm.
needed to use Node.js for for the Docker, like setting up Docker, and
Yeah.
this is very new to me.
So I think what happened was the should I call it this tutorial you were working with, the individual was trying to use Node.js to access the database. And like I mentioned to you, you actually didn't need that. You had already set up Docker SQL Server on your Docker machine. You just needed to connect it using your API. So all you needed was your connection string on your API, and then you were good to go.
That's why I'm glad I had like messaged you, like, I don't know what's happening. And I had coffee and I was crashing for my coffee. And I was like, I don't, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm
Wow.
like, okay, here we are. Hello, darkness, my old friend. So,
Yeah, but it's fine. I think you understand that bit now. So all you needed to do was just set it up on your machine, and then you just get a connection string, and then you were good to go. So each time
yeah,
you need to use it, all you need to do is just bring up Docker and then start up SQL Server, and then you're good to go. But there is
that is great to
something
know.
I can actually see Cecil on the stream.
Yes.
I'm really glad it's here,
Woo.
right? I think I'm a great fan. But there's something I would really like to find out. I actually thought I was going to find that out tomorrow. but I'd like to find that out on the stream. So sorry about that. Okay, so you have Docker, you have SQL Server on your Docker, but for Windows, after downloading SQL Server, you could also use SQL Server Management Studio to access um, your database, right? But for Mac, I'm not sure what you can use. I don't know if you could get the Studio on your MacBook,
Mhm.
but if that's possible, then that would even make it easier because then you could see your database without actually connecting to an ASP.NET Core app or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Yes.
we need to find that out. If you could get SQL Server Management Studio on your MacBook,
Yeah,
yeah.
I could
So
totally look into
that's
that.
possible. Then you would find it really easy to access your database without even using any app, whether ASP.NET Core or Next.js.
Let's see. Yeah, it's hard to know how much is enough, especially when you feel like you have like a deadline. You're like, I need to know like how to work this thing. Like you want to learn, and you're just like, okay, I'm hitting a wall. It can be very tough. I feel like I've said a lot of like risky stuff today. I'm not gonna touch on that one.
All right, so Cecil said there are Visual Studio Code extensions you can use to view your database tables. So we need to check this
Awesome.
out, right? We need to check this out. So we'll check it out after the stream, before our next stream. That way
Yes.
to be yeah, so view your database tables without even connecting to any app.
Okay. Yeah. I like
Thanks,
that
Cecil.
plan. Thank you so much, Cecil. You're amazing. Okay, so yeah, with that being said, when is our next stream? Because I feel like this is like a part of our good news. It's not the entire announcement just yet, but when can people expect our next stream?
Oh yeah, next week.
Next Friday.
Yeah, next week Friday. So it's not going to be every other Sunday. We moved the stream to Fridays, and it's going to be weekly.
Mhm.
As much as we're chance, anyways, because we have other stuff that we're doing, anyways. But as much as we're chance, we're going to try. We're going to try and make it a weekly stream. We're going to be discussing a lot of stuff on the stream, and we're going to try to make it more interesting, right? So as
And
we go ahead,
interactive.
yeah, and interactive. That's the word. So as we go ahead, would make it more interesting, interactive. Try to bring more persons on here because we could see a lot of conversations happening in the comment section. I believe they would love to be on the stream to to tell us more.
Of course.
So I think in subsequent streams we'll try to bring persons on the stream to discuss stuff and yeah. So I'll leave it to you so I don't spill the good news. I think it's
Okay.
just all right.
I've been thinking like, where do I start with this? I will start. So, I like we were saying, we want this community to be more interactive. And let me stop. I don't have to stop sharing my screen. We want this community to be more interactive. I think that was the main purpose of the .NET book study is like getting people involved, learning through conversations, having fun together, not taking ourselves too seriously where we're stressed out and we're feeding the imposter syndrome dragon and where we feel like we can't use our voices and our minds to create something cool. Um, so, for those who don't know, I recently quit my job. It was a long time coming, and it was a situation where I was not happy in my life, and it wasn't tech related. Like, my background is not tech related. But for the longest time, I had been living a double life where it's like, okay, I'm doing my day job, but at night I'm learning this and like, on my weekends and it just became a point where it was just too much. And it was just like, you know what? It's time to focus on what I like. And I feel like this is not a foreign conversation for many people. And I don't know if it's happening all around the world, but the Great Resignation, where people, many millions of people, are quitting their jobs and moving forward to things that give them more fulfillment. And what I feel like is so special with what we have, um, I feel like what we have addresses the conversation of the Great Resignation, as well as talks about fulfillment. And that is why, let me let me pull it up.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. .NET Book Study. We have a website now. And I won't say our answer, but I like to think it's our answer to the Great Resignation. We created a Discord server where people who are interested in learning .NET and interested in C#, people who want, who want their, it's one thing to learn how to code. I feel like it's another thing to get fulfillment from learning how to code. And I feel like the learning journey never stops. So it's like, why wait to learn how to code when you can make your learning journey impactful for others? And so in our .NET Book Study Discord server, if you're interested in joining, you can hit the join now button. In the server, we have a community and a space where we can not only touch on topics discussed in our live streams, but also to touch on topics for people who are a part of the Great Resignation movement, I guess, where we can,
Where do I fit in?
huh?
Where do I fit in? I'm not resigning.
I know, and you don't have to resign. You don't, and that's the thing. You don't have to resign. I think it's about one where we can have a conversation of how .NET, the .NET framework, can help small business owners, or Microsoft technologies can scale small business owners. I feel like we can have that space where we're having those conversations, because I do feel like people want change. People want a new story. And then you don't have to resign or quit your job or anything. That's not what this is about. That's not what the basis of this is about. This is about people who want to know that their code is impactful in ways that fulfill their needs and their heart and their passion, and where we can do this together. Because when you're on a new journey and you're in your new story, it's scary. And imposter syndrome is in your ear with these negative voices. I feel like this is a space where, maybe you have an idea and you're not sure how to go about it. Here we are. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. And let's see why it will work rather than why it won't work. Gabriel, would you like to talk about our other part of our space, the SDGs?
Oh, okay.
I feel like I talked a lot.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was actually enjoying you speak. All right. So, before I even touch about the SDGs, I would like also to talk about one part of the space that I really look forward to. There is a channel called Demystify.net Updates, right? So I think, right, we already have a few persons already on the channel, and Badger was mentioning.
Badger, yes. Great conversations happening already.
Yeah, so he mentioned something. I was like, wow, I would like to learn more about this. So why don't you just move this conversation to this channel and then, tell me more about it. So probably there are updates in the .NET ecosystem or community that you do not understand. You could ask questions in that channel and then have persons who understand it explain it to you. Then we also have the .NET Book Study stream channel where you could ask questions as regards the stream. You could discuss about things that were discussed on the stream and all of that. Mm-hmm. And then the SDGs, right? So like Oh my god, sorry. So like you were mentioning about making impacts, creating change, right? So
Mhm.
SDGs, like how do I put this now? Sustainable development goals, that's the meaning,
Mhm.
right? So there are about 20 of them, if I can remember. I'm not sure.
I can
Just
go to it
about
as
20.
well.
Yeah, you could just Google it. So there are about 20 of them, that there are goals that we could use to make the world a better place, right? So, and then in that channel we would like to be discussing how we could do this using .NET, how we could create solutions that would solve some of these that would solve some of these development goals, and make impacts in the world, stuff like that. So
Exactly.
the server is going to be very interesting. It is already interesting with the few persons that are already on there. Sometimes I wake
They're
up because
amazing.
I'm in Africa. So, most times when I'm awake, Elaine and some other folks are asleep, and sometimes when I'm asleep, they're awake. So sometimes I just wake up and I just come up to a lot of conversations, and I'm like, oh wow, I missed a lot. But definitely, when we have more persons on the server, it's going to be a very interesting ride, I'll show you. So just go to the website .netbookstudy.com and click on join now to join the conversation.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
so this is some of the SDGs. I think, how many are they? Let me see.
17, I believe.
17. Yeah, 17. Sorry, my bad. So about 17 of them. So in that channel we'll just come and discuss about solutions that we have, and how we can solve them using .NET.
Yes. So, for example, one of the SDGs is the number one is no poverty. Then there's zero hunger. There's good health and well being, gender equality, quality education, clean water and sanitation. These are things that, like, these are goals of making the world a better place. And I feel like you don't have to be an expert to, you know, create a project that can really help people. I feel like that's where the community comes into play. And I feel like that's why our Discord server is going to be very amazing and impactful, because this is a space where we can have those types of conversations, and we don't have to succumb to imposter syndrome and feel like our voices and our minds don't matter. I feel like we can have uh, a reason for why we're learning, because I feel like at a certain point it becomes, at least for me, I it becomes kind of boring. Like when I'm learning something, it's like, okay, why am I learning this though? What can I do with this information? So I feel like it's not just about learning how to code. It's about that code being impactful in the way that you want it to be. And I think that is what the new story that we are all kind of experiencing now.
I saw a comment by Ronald.
Yes, I'm looking. There's a lot of people in the chat. My goodness. How
Yeah.
amazing.
So he said sometimes it's very hard to follow his accent. I'm sorry about that. I
Oh
am
no.
sorry about that.
No, I mean I can understand you perfectly. I know, and I will say, and I think that's an amazing thing too, is the fact that we're on different sides of the world. I'm in California in the United States, and you're, in a different
In,
on a different
I'm in
continent,
Nigeria, Africa.
and we're joining forces across the oceans.
Yeah, I'll try to be more clearer and probably slower when I speak.
I I think you're amazing. Let's see. Let's see what Badger says. Agreed. Sometimes it's just a matter of someone exposing you to new challenges and ideas, stuff you wouldn't necessarily come across on your own. Exactly. Like sometimes you don't know, like you don't know what you don't know. And that's why I think that having a community that's not like that's just about people wanting a new story. It doesn't have to be about anything else but wanting a new story, creating solutions. I feel like that is like perfect, because that's where the focus is at. And us being from different parts of the world and different sides of the globe and sharing our experiences, I feel like that's how we learn, and that's how we get even better and better and better as people. Ah! I guess you can say .NET networking community. .NET as in .networking. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Tears. That is perfect. um, let's see. Cecil. I love Gabriel's accent.
Oh
I get it. I
wow.
find it hard to follow folks with him. And yeah, and I think it just being exposed to different people, you become like you can just like you start to get it, like I don't know. Let's see what else. Badger, I spent many years of solo adventuring. It wasn't until I joined a group that I learned more in 2 weeks than I did in 10 years. Exactly. Exactly. Like let's excel. Let's do it. So I'm like going backwards at this point. I honestly thought you had a tech day job. No, I was just working myself crazy. And at a certain point, I couldn't do it anymore. Like I was like starting to get carpal tunnel and stuff. It was too much. But yeah, for those who are interested in joining our server, who want to know a little bit more, you can also, if you're still kind of like on the fence about joining the server, but you have more questions, you can hit our contact part, the let's talk button, and that's where you can send us an email right there. But that's pretty much it. Gabriel, do you have any last words? Let me
Well,
see.
I can't wait to have fun on the channel, on the server. We're already having fun. I can't wait to have a lot more persons join, and then let's have fun. Let's grow together, like you said.
Exactly. Let's see. Let me get your website up. So
Okay. Yeah,
yes.
so you could reach me on my website, egabriel.dev, where I try to write articles sometimes. And then you could on from there you could also get my LinkedIn, you could get my GitHub and
Yes.
some other stuff about me.
His Twitter.
And
This
yeah,
is
my
his
Twitter also.
Twitter.
All right.
And then if you want my information, my website is elandinacodes.com. My Twitter is, oh, that's the wrong button. Hold up. I guess my Twitter is Code the Lightning. So you will see it like below right here. um, let's see. We have one more. Uh-oh. Calling us out. Why, Badger? Why?
I slogans.
Oh, how embarrassing. Oh my God. I knew someone was going to say that. But you know what? This was also an awesome learning experience for me as well. And, we can have a new website in Blazor one of these days.
Definitely. So we're going to keep improving on it, and
Exactly.
we have a website in Blazor, hopefully one of these days, which would probably work with the API that we created. So
Exactly.
we have great plans, great ideas for the website, and we're just
Mm-hmm.
going to keep getting better.
Exactly. I mean, I did build my website in Blazor and I used an API and it was like it's a inspirational quote API and I love it. Every time I go on my website, it's a new inspirational quote, which is really fun for me. So I'll say that. But okay, it looks like we're approaching the hour. Um, do you have any last words, Gabriel, before we end the stream?
Well, like I said, I can't wait to have everyone on the server. So
Exactly,
after
me
this
too.
stream, I'm just gonna go on my Twitter and I'm gonna put a website up there. I'm gonna go on my LinkedIn. I'm gonna put a website all up there on my WhatsApp everywhere.
It's
So
gonna be
yeah,
so
so
exciting.
join.
Yes, building and expanding on the community. It's going to be awesome, and we hope to see you all there in the server. So bye for now.
Bye.